Something strange is happening to millions of people every single day. They wake up, grab their phones, and immediately start scrolling through other people's lives. Just a few minutes later, they begin to feel like their own lives are boring and meaningless. They ask themselves, why am I not as beautiful as she is? Why am I not as successful or wealthy as he is? Why does everyone else always seem happier than me? The sad truth is, we only get to see what other people choose to show us. The struggles they hide behind the scenes. The pain they carry in silence. Most of us never see any of it. Today's story is about a crow. A crow that spent almost its entire life hating who it was. Every day, it wished it could be a different kind of bird. Until one unforgettable journey revealed a truth. A truth that many people spend their entire lives trying to understand. One beautiful spring morning, the sky was a brilliant blue. Without a single cloud in sight, a young crow soared over the vast countryside, searching for something to eat. After flying for quite a while, it landed on the branch of an old oak tree, overlooking a small village. From its perch high above, it noticed a breathtaking scene. In the center of the village lay a crystal-clear lake. Sunlight danced across the water, making it sparkle like thousands of tiny diamonds. Gliding gracefully across the middle of the lake was a magnificent white swan. Its snow-white feathers shimmered in the sunlight, so elegant and beautiful that anyone passing by couldn't help but stop and admire it. Children laughed with excitement. Adults stood along the shore with warm smiles on their faces. Some even brought pieces of bread to feed the swan. The young crow watched quietly. It had never seen anyone receive so much love and admiration. A thought suddenly crossed its mind. I wonder what it feels like to be loved by everyone. Curious, the crow spread its wings and flew closer to the lake. But the moment the villagers noticed the crow, their smiles disappeared. Get that crow out of here. Those birds only bring bad luck. A little boy picked up a pebble and threw it at the crow. A man grabbed a stick and waved it, trying to chase the bird away. Startled, the crow shot back into the sky. Its heart pounded in its chest. It couldn't understand what it had done wrong. All it wanted was to get a little closer, nothing more. The crow landed on a tree branch farther away and looked back at the lake. Down below, the villagers were smiling and laughing with the swan again, as if nothing had happened. The young crow lowered its head and stared at its black feathers. For the first time in its life, it hated the color of its own wings. That evening, as the sun slowly disappeared behind the distant mountains, the crow quietly flew deep into the forest. It found a high branch and sat there without moving. The forest was as peaceful as ever. A nearby stream babbled softly. Leaves rustled gently in the breeze. Birdsong echoed through the trees. But inside the crow's heart, there was only a heavy emptiness. It looked down at its dark feathers and whispered, "Why was I born a crow? If only my feathers were as white as the swan's, maybe everyone would love me." As those words left its beak, tears slowly rolled down its face. Just then, an old voice spoke from behind. What could make a young crow cry on such a beautiful day? The young crow quickly turned around. Standing there was an old crow. His feathers had faded to a soft shade of gray, and his eyes carried the quiet wisdom of a lifetime. He had lived in that forest for so many years that he seemed to know every story it held. The young crow told him everything, from its encounter with the swan, to the way the villagers looked at it with disgust, and the hatred it had begun to feel toward itself. The old crow listened quietly. He didn't interrupt. He didn't judge. When the young crow finished, he simply smiled. "Do you really believe the swan is the happiest bird in the world?" The young crow nodded without hesitation. "Of course, everyone loves it. It's beautiful. People admire it. It has everything." The old crow let out a soft chuckle. It was the kind of smile that suggested he had heard those exact words hundreds of times before. He gazed toward the depths of the forest and said slowly, "At the far end of this forest, there's a very special stream. Legend says, any creature that steps into its waters with a sincere heart can become whatever it wishes to be. The young crow's eyes lit up. Really? The old crow nodded. Yes, but before you go there, I want you to do one thing for me. What is it? Go and meet the birds you admire the most, and ask each of them just one question. What question? The old crow looked straight into the young crow's eyes. Are you truly happy? The young crow frowned. It couldn't understand why such a simple question even needed to be asked. In its mind, how could a graceful swan, a brightly colored parrot, or a magnificent peacock possibly be unhappy? Still, out of respect for the old crow, it nodded. The next morning, the journey to find the answer began. And from that very moment, the young crow's life would never be the same again. If this story made you see life from a different perspective, take just a second to like this video and subscribe to our channel. Your support inspires us to keep bringing you more meaningful stories like this. As the first rays of sunlight filtered through the trees, the young crow left the forest and flew back to the village. The lake was just as peaceful as it had been the day before. The graceful white swan was still gliding gently across the water. The villagers stood along the shore, smiling as they watched it. The scene was so beautiful that, for a moment, the crow almost forgot why it had come. It took a deep breath before flying down. This time, instead of getting too close to the shore, it quietly landed on a small rock near the water. The swan noticed the crow. Rather than looking annoyed, it greeted the visitor with a warm, gentle smile. Is something on your mind, my friend? The young crow hesitated. I just wanted to ask you something. The swan nodded kindly. Of course. Go ahead. The crow looked at the swan's snow-white feathers shimmering in the morning sunlight and spoke with heartfelt admiration. You must be the happiest bird in the world. Everyone loves you. Everyone says you're beautiful. I've never seen anyone treated the way I was. I wish I could be like you. The swan fell silent. The gentle smile on its face slowly faded. It turned its gaze toward the wooden fence surrounding the lake. When it spoke again, its voice was softer, heavier. Do you know what the first thing I see every morning is? The crow shook its head. The fence. I can't fly away. I don't get to choose where I live. People love me, but they're also the ones who decide how my life is lived. The swan lowered its head, watching the ripples spread across the water. When I was young, they petted me. When I grew up, they showed me off to everyone. But when I grow old, I don't know what will become of me. I've seen other swans disappear. No one ever told me where they went. A gentle breeze drifted across the lake. The swan slowly closed its eyes. Sometimes, I wish I could fly. Just once. The young crow was speechless. It had never imagined that behind such breathtaking beauty was a life filled with fear and uncertainty. After a long silence, it quietly asked, "Then, who do you think is the happiest bird of all?" A faint, bittersweet smile appeared on the swan's face. "I think the parrot is. They have the most colorful feathers. People love them, but they don't hunt them for food. Their lives must be much better than mine." The young crow thanked the swan and continued its journey. It flew for hours, across wide-open fields, over winding rivers, above rolling hills covered in lush green trees. By midday, it spotted a parrot perched on the branch of a mango tree. Its brilliant green, yellow, and red feathers glowed in the sunlight. It looked like a living work of art. The crow smiled to itself. This must be it. This has to be the happiest bird in the world. It flew closer. "Hello." The parrot greeted it cheerfully. "Hello there." The crow wasted no time. "Do you know something? I just met a swan. It told me that you're the happiest bird of all." The parrot suddenly laughed. But it wasn't a joyful laugh. It was filled with quiet bitterness. "Happy? If that's true, then why is it that every time I hear human footsteps, I start trembling with fear?" The young crow looked surprised. "Why?" The parrot stared off into the distance before answering. "People don't hunt swans very often, but they love capturing birds like us. Just because we can talk, just because our feathers are bright and colorful, I lost my entire family. My parents were taken when I was still a chick. As for my brothers and sisters, to this day, I don't even know if they're still alive." The parrot let out a quiet sigh. "Once, I flew past a house. I saw another parrot inside. It was locked in a beautiful golden cage. It was fed every single day. But its eyes, they were completely empty. All it did was repeat the words people had taught it. Not because it was happy, but because it was lonely." The crow felt a sharp ache in its chest. For the first time, it began to understand that beauty doesn't always mean happiness. Before leaving, it asked, "If it's not you, then who do you think is the happiest bird?" The parrot looked up at the open sky. "Maybe the peacock. No bird in the world is more beautiful than a peacock. Its life must be absolutely wonderful." That afternoon, the young crow flew to the city zoo. Even from a distance, it could see large crowds gathered together. Children squealed with excitement. Camera shutters clicked non-stop. In the middle of a spacious enclosure stood a magnificent peacock, slowly spreading its breathtaking tail. Hundreds of shimmering feathers sparkled in the afternoon sun. The crow could barely breathe. It had never seen anything so incredibly beautiful. It waited patiently until the crowd began to thin out. Only then did it fly over. "Hello?" The peacock turned toward the crow. Its eyes were calm and kind. With heartfelt admiration, the crow said, "I've traveled a long way just to meet you. I truly believe you're the happiest bird in the world." The peacock looked at the young crow for a long moment. Then it quietly asked, "When you look at me, what do you see?" The crow answered without hesitation, "I see beauty. I see admiration. I see everyone looking up to you. I see a bird that everyone loves." The peacock smiled softly. "That's true. They love my feathers, but they've never once asked if I'm happy." It slowly turned and looked toward the tall iron gate that kept the enclosure locked. "Do you know what I miss the most? The feeling of flying. I've almost forgotten what the endless sky looks like." The peacock's voice grew quiet. "Every year, people pluck my most beautiful feathers. They sell them. They make money from them. Then they wait for new feathers to grow, so they can do it all over again." The peacock slowly closed its eyes. "Some nights, I dream that I'm just a crow, an ordinary bird, one that no one stops to admire, one that no one hunts, one that no one keeps in a cage. All I want is the freedom to spread my wings and fly across the open sky. That's all I've ever wanted." The young crow stood there in silence. In that moment, its black wings suddenly felt lighter than they ever had before. For the first time in its life, it no longer hated the feathers it was born with. It lifted its eyes toward the endless blue sky, something the three beautiful birds had never truly been able to call their own. Quietly, the crow bowed its head in gratitude to the peacock. Then it spread its wings and flew back toward the forest. Deep inside, the answer was beginning to take shape, but it still wanted to see the old crow one last time, because somehow it knew that their final conversation would change its life forever. If you believe that every person has their own unique worth and that true happiness begins the moment we learn to appreciate who we are, leave a 1-inch the comments below. As the sun slowly dipped below the horizon, the forest was bathed in a warm, golden glow. The young crow quietly returned to the place where it had first met the old crow. From high above, it could see the magical stream still flowing gently between moss-covered rocks. The water was so crystal clear that every drifting leaf was perfectly reflected on its surface. The old crow was still perched on the same familiar branch. It was almost as if he had known all along that the young crow would return. He smiled warmly. "So, you've met them all, haven't you?" The young crow gave a gentle nod. It landed beside the old crow, but this time, the shame that had once filled its eyes was gone. In its place was quiet reflection. After a long silence, the old crow spoke again. "Well then, have you decided which bird you want to become?" The young crow looked down at the stream. The crystal clear water reflected its own image. A crow with jet black feathers, wings that weren't colorful, weren't pure white, and certainly weren't magnificent. It was simply itself. If this had been just one day earlier, it would have stepped into the magical stream without a second thought, to trade its black feathers for the swan's snowy white plumage, the parrot's brilliant colors, or the peacock's magnificent tail. But today, it simply smiled. Then it took one step back, and another. The old crow noticed everything. He asked softly, "You don't want to change anymore?" The young crow gently shook its head. "No, I don't want to become anyone else." The old crow smiled. "What changed your mind?" The young crow looked up at the sky. Flocks of birds were flying across the golden evening light. It spoke slowly. "At first, I thought I was the most unfortunate bird in the world. All I could see was everything I didn't have. I looked at the swan and longed for its beauty. I looked at the parrot and envied its colorful feathers. I looked at the peacock and wished for the admiration it received. It changes the heart." The young crow's eyes widened. The old crow continued, "Those who come here with greed receive nothing in return, but those who are willing to seek the truth will discover the most valuable thing they already have." He looked directly at the young crow. "Today, it was not the stream that changed you. It was your journey that was the real magic." A gentle breeze passed through the forest. Golden leaves slowly drifted down onto the surface of the water. The young crow looked at its reflection once more. For the first time, it saw its black feathers as beautiful, not because of their color, but because it had learned to love itself. The next morning, the crow flew over the village again. It saw the swan still gliding across the lake. But this time, there was no envy in its heart. It simply lowered its head in quiet greeting. It continued flying over the forest where the parrot hid, then past the zoo, where the peacock stood silently behind iron bars. And it suddenly understood that every living creature carries a story that others cannot see. From that day on, whenever it met a bird more beautiful than itself, it no longer thought, "I wish I could be like them." Instead, it quietly wished, "I hope you have a peaceful life." Perhaps life is just like the sky. If you only spend your time looking at other people's clouds, you will never notice the sunlight shining on you. Everyone carries their own hidden pain. Not everyone shows it. Don't let what you see on the outside make you believe others are happier than you, because sometimes the person you admire the most is quietly wishing for the life you already have. Happiness doesn't begin when you become someone else. It begins the moment you learn to appreciate who you are. And always remember, you don't need the most beautiful wings to fly the highest. You only need to realize that the wings you already have are enough to take you wherever your heart desires. If this story touched your heart, share your thoughts in the comments. Maybe your story will help someone stop comparing themselves and start loving their own life. Thank you for listening. See you in the next story. If you enjoyed this story, please like, share, and subscribe for more inspiring stories. We'll be back with another meaningful journey soon.